Little Women has been a classic since the book was originally published in 1868 by Louisa May Alcott, an American novelist. Due to its success, there has been many film and TV adaptations over the years, such as the earliest adaptation in 1933 and the most recent film in 2019. Greta Gerwig directed the most recent adaptation, which was a highly successful film, making $206 million at the box office. Gerwig has previously solely directed only one other project, Lady Bird, in 2017, which later won a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture. This gave Gerwig a good reputation for future projects in the industry, later helping her to direct Little Women, which was released 2 years later. Gerwig's adaptation ensured to have a star-studded cast, including Saoirse Ronan as Jo March, who had also previously been the lead of her first solo-directed film, Lady Bird.
Go to City College and then to jail, and then back to City College, and then maybe you'd learn to pull yourself up and not expect everybody to do everything.
Upcoming star Florence Pugh was also cast alongside her, playing previously misunderstood character, Amy March.
I'm Amy.
The adaptation has many aspects that make it unique to the other retellings, such as the fact that she focuses on the relationships between the March sisters throughout the film, as well as having the film start with the March sisters grown up and flashing back to past events that influence where they are now. By having the timeline not in the traditional chronological order, it allows the viewers to see how much the March sisters have changed. However, some critics have pointed out that because it starts with Jo March rushing home to see Beth, her younger sister, who is dying, it does not allow for the viewer to connect with her character and changes Beth's story arc, as the viewer has no hope for Beth's survival. This means there is later less shock when, spoiler alert, she sadly dies. One thing that Gerwig didn't change is the relationship with Jo and Laurie, and the female gaze throughout the story. Thankfully, writer-director Greta Gerwig has not betrayed the feminine gaze that made the two-volume 1860s novel a literary landmark, states Rolling Stone. The female gaze is the March sisters, particularly Amy and Jo's, ever-changing view of Laurie throughout the story, which is particularly shown through the flashback scenes. Amy is shown to look up and crush over Laurie at her younger age, whereas in her later years it shows her changing attitude towards him, as he is seen having antisocial and rude behaviour towards the March sister after he is turned down by her older sister Jo. Amy March overall is a controversial character with viewers, as she is often misunderstood due to her burning Jo's novel at a young age and having a love-hate relationship with the protagonist Jo. In previous versions, Amy is often villainised because of her actions at a young age. However, in Gerwig's adaptation, she manages to make Amy likeable even with her mistakes. This allows the audience to understand her actions and adds more depth to her character development. A scene that was added by Gerwig for Amy was the marriage is a proposition scene.
And if I had my own money, which I don't, that money would belong to my husband the moment we got married. And if we had children, they would be his, not mine. They would be his property, so don't sit there and tell me that marriage isn't an economic proposition, because it is. May not be for you, but it most certainly is for me.
Which shows the audience Amy's views and explains how women in this period married for reasons other than love and was more so an economic proposition. Florence Pugh states in an interview,
I think what's so powerful about this version is that we get to see how, for a woman, they had to be realistic, and there was no guaranteed way of having their own income and having their own life. And something that Greta has given Amy in this version is that it is totally okay to be safe, and for women at that time, that's the only kind of possibility that you could have had. To marry well and to have a safe life was, far more realistic than, let's say, what Jo did.
Greta Gerwig added a feminist theme throughout the film, showing there is no villain in the story, which many people used to view as Amy. Overall, I think this adaptation will be a memorable one, and with the modern take on issues such as feminism, it is more appropriate for today's audiences and many other audiences to come in the future.